Okay, today is Thursday, October 13th, 2011, and this lesson is going to be about some new material that the school district purchased that's basically an online resource for you where you can get a digital textbook, you can get online labs, I can administer assignments to you online. It's a really good resource for us to take advantage of, and I think you're going to like it. So we're going to come over here on Thursday and we're going to click on the Cinch Science reading assignment on force and motion. And anytime we have an assignment from Cinch, when you click on these links, it's going to take you to a logon screen. So we're going to go ahead and click this. And this is going to be the website you get to. It says Cinch Science for Texas, and then it has a username and password. You're not going to have to register or anything like that. You've already been input into the system, and that's kind of what we were waiting for up to this point before we rolled it out and let you start using it. But when you get to this website, you'll just go ahead and I will have already passed out a card to you as you walked in. That card will have a username and password that obviously you'll want to keep to yourself. If it ever becomes compromised, you let me know, and we can go ahead and go back and change that password for you. When you enter your username and password, you'll go ahead and click Go, and it'll take you to a website that looks like this. Okay, at the top it'll have your name. I'm not going to go ahead and show you this because this is someone's actual page. But when you go to this web page, it'll have a date at the top, and you can change that if you want to look at different past dates, because every day I'll be able to actually upload different lessons for you. And this lesson is on force and motion, which is the new topic that we're covering. This big square at the top will represent the digital textbook, and it's always going to be the biggest square when you get to this page. If I was to click on that, it would take me to the text where it explains with pictures and stuff like that. It really is an interactive textbook, which makes it so much better than a hard copy textbook, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. The other thing you'll notice if you scroll down is that it has different activities, videos. It'll have animations about free body diagrams and how to do them. It'll have online labs that you can do. Different things that I'll assign out of the resources they've given me. So, you know, whatever is here, obviously I'll expect you to do because I put it up on the page for you to see. At the very bottom, it'll have a little bit, some more assignments that maybe aren't shown in these big boxes here. So you can get the lesson pages, basically the stuff up here, and only text if your computer works better with that, or if it's a little bit slower, you might want to use this instead of the one up here, or the link up here. You also have a lesson quiz that's over this chapter, and I've put that on there, and we'll take a look at that tomorrow. We're not going to really worry about that today. And then over here I have some concept flashcards, and if you were to click those, you would see that it would pull up a little flash thing that you could go through some flashcards digitally to help you memorize vocabulary. Okay, I can also assign different tests and assignments, and those assignments that I give you, you would actually take those here off the web page, and it would send me your score, and you could get a real-time grade right back at you. So today's assignment is actually going to be to kind of learn how to use the digital textbook. So you're going to be going and clicking on this big box for force and motion. And when you do that, it's going to open up text. Okay, and it's really good because it is interactive, and we can go through, and as you're reading, you can do a lot of stuff with this digital textbook. One of the first things that I'll want to point out to you is that as you're reading, you can actually highlight things. So if I wanted to go through and highlight this right here, in physics, push or pull is called a force, I would highlight it. And you know, I can make a note right here by clicking on this after I highlight it. I can add a note and save that note to the text. I can also, if I choose to, after I save, I could highlight it if I wanted to, and the highlights will show up as a grayed out section. You can also access the highlights by clicking on this little tab up here. If I don't want it to be highlighted anymore, I can just delete that highlight and it'll get rid of it here. The other thing that happens when I highlight something is it gives me the option to discuss. So if I have a question or I want to discuss something about this with my classmates, you can actually open a topic for discussion here, and you can go ahead and input whatever your question was about that. All right. The other thing you can do is look up this sentence on Google. So you don't have to open up Google. You can just hit the little Google bar, and it will actually look up that definition or that stuff for you. You'll notice here the very first thing that it pulled up was a Wikipedia source, another thing on college physics. And the last thing at your disposal when you highlight is going to be this Wikipedia. It'll automatically take you to Wikipedia so you can take a look at whatever information they might have on force or pushes and pulls in physics. Okay? Those are the big key things that you can kind of interactively do with the text. Obviously, that'll be really helpful for vocabulary if you need to look something up. It makes it very easy to look something up. As far as discussions go, obviously you need to keep it within school type rules. We're not going to want you cursing. You're not going to want to be rude or anything to your classmates. Make sure that you keep it about the work. Especially if you have questions, it'll be helpful for me if you create a discussion on it, just so that you might actually get help from another student as you're going through your reading. Other people will have reading assignments, and if you have questions, you could have an online discussion going about this diagram or whatever you're reading. The next thing I want to point out is that it actually has space in here where you can answer stuff. So right here it says reading check, identify the cause of all accelerations. Well, you're going to want to say that the cause for all accelerations is a push or pull. So you could actually type that in here. Right, so I can actually input my little answer and I can just keep on moving, right? As I go through this, you're going to find that if there are questions, there are boxes for you to answer. So here, there's 5 questions about the practice problems here, and you would just go ahead and input your answers here and move on. You don't have to click save or anything like that yet. At the very bottom, there's actually a place for you to toggle and save whatever answers you've input. When you're done with the assignment that I've asked you to do for the reading, you can actually send that to me that you finished, and I can actually check your work, which is going to be pretty important for today's assignment, because for today, you're actually going to be going through and you're going to do the review questions 1 through 10. Okay? So as you're working on these review questions, you'll input the answer, and you'll save it. Make sure you save it after each one just in case you have an issue with your browser. That might help. And then you can send it to me when you're done with all of the answer choices. One thing that is going to be important is for today's stuff, they do actually have some problems where you have to do some calculations. So like right here, number 7, it says, what is the magnitude of the net force acting on a 1 kilogram ball in free fall? Now you all know that I expect you to do the guess method. There are some steps that you will be able to show here, or that you might have trouble showing, like the equation step, and I totally understand if you have issues showing that. It's not going to show up perfectly, but you still can type everything in. And if you need help with that, I encourage you to ask me for help before you kind of give up on showing your work for these problems, because it is still going to be important that you show all those steps when you're solving those problems. Anytime you'd actually have to do a picture, up here in the free body diagram problems 2 and 3, they ask that you draw a free body diagram of something happening. Obviously, it would be hard for you to draw. So what I would expect for you to do here is just describe your drawing in detail so that I could obviously know what you drew. Alright, so that's kind of where you'll input your stuff. You'll save it and send it to me. And again, I do encourage you to use the discussions. So if you have questions about a picture, or if you have questions even about a question, you could highlight this question and you could start a little discussion on this first question and get your classmates' ideas on exactly what they're putting, why they're putting it, that kind of thing. This really is a great tool to help you keep track of your learning, but also get assistance from people in a much easier social way that you're used to. You can also print this out if you needed to, so when you're looking at it at home, if you wanted to print it out, it has a glossary section. When you click on the glossary section, you can go through and look up any words that you might not know that are in here. And then the TEK section will be just an FYI on which TEKs are covered here for this text. So really important that you take good advantage of this new resource. And today, like I said, you'll be working on using this, and I expect for all of you to get practice on just taking a note on something, highlighting something, create a discussion on a question, and ask your friends for some help. I can monitor all these discussions, so it's really important that you obviously keep it to the standards I expect from you guys. All right. Once you're done with this and you've saved it and sent it to me, you can go ahead and close it, and that's going to be your lesson for today. Tomorrow we're going to go over a little bit more with regards to looking at videos, animations, exploring these online quizzes, and I'm also going to have an assessment up here that you'll be able to try out over speed and acceleration, a topic that we had covered before. All right, so that concludes the lesson for today. I want you guys to get started by using the computers at the lab tables. And again, if you have any questions, please make sure you address those before you leave today so you're clear on what you have to do. Thank you.